Well, welcome to another episode of the Fittest of the Coast podcast. David Neese and Josh Desmond joining tonight's episode. Josh, I'd ask you how you feel after doing Murph, but we already know you didn't do it. So, David, how are you feeling?
I actually feel really good from a Murph standpoint, but right before I saw you, I pulled my back out, putting my tennis shoe on to go do Murph. That tells you what point of life I'm in right now. So
you're what we would classify a master's athlete.
Yeah, master's athlete who can't put their shoes on without getting hurt. So tomorrow is a chiropractor appointment, not because of Murph, but because of a shoe malfunction.
Yeah, but we also played 2 hours of pickleball that night as well. So I don't know about you, but my calves are pretty sore from playing pickleball after as well.
But you know what? I think all of that helped relieve some of the buildup from Murph as well. So,
yeah, I feel pretty good though. Aside from my legs, which I stem from pickleball, I feel good. It was a good time. Went out there in the morning, did it with a vest, but didn't do it. I did it. I did it unpartitioned. I always get confused.
You partitioned it. You partitioned it.
Yeah, we break it up, right? That's what it is. I always get that confused. But good Murph, good times. I know a lot of people were doing Murph, so just good times out there. Josh, we went to 2 weeks ago. We went down to Orlando to the semifinals.
Yes, we did. It was a fun time. I love Orlando. Big Orlando guy now.
Are you being serious, Josh? You really liked it?
I loved it. Hey, Kyle, what were we calling Orlando towards the end of the trip?
Orlando. The reason
I loved it.
The reason being in Orlando, everybody dresses like ridiculously nice for what you would think in Orlando. At least in the part where we were at, we were like, "Why are these people dressed so nice?"
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. We're just having casual tacos, getting burgers. And it was called The Point, right?
Yes.
It was called The Point. It was right down the road from the convention center. And, me and Kyle were in gym shorts, a T-shirt, whatever, right? There are people in full-blown suits, button-ups. The women are wearing dresses. And I'm like, Kyle, where are we? Like, what is this place? And then basically just started to catch on. It's like, we're in Orlando. And it was great. I had a great time. I really did.
Except for the flight experience, right?
Oh, gosh. Never fly Spirit. Forget that airline. It's trash. If you just want to be hot and sweaty, crammed beside a bunch of strangers, delayed, and just make yourself really evaluate your entire life, fly Spirit. By all means, fly Spirit. So,
Kyle, I mean, does Josh not know that I am a proponent of flying Spirit? So
he should, yeah. He should know, but I guess maybe he doesn't. Yeah, you're talking to the guy that would fly Spirit before he flies private, Josh.
Wait, you would fly Spirit before flying private?
If the price was right, baby.
Well, listen, I know Spirit, if you go down to the airport, I know they have really good deals, right? I'm very much aware of that. I just had such a horrible experience. And Kyle can attest to it. He even said to me on the flight down, he said, dude, you looked incredibly uncomfortable the entire time. I was like, and I was because, I'm kind of a bigger guy. I was beside a bigger guy who had no interest in sharing any room, right?
No.
And then,
they never do.
They never do, right? And he talked the whole trip. He wasn't talking to me. He was talking to the person beside him. So I'm like, good gosh, be quiet, right? And then in the aisleway beside me and Kyle, there's this kid, and that. Tell me this isn't the most ignorant thing you can do on a plane. There's this kid playing on his phone, all right? Watching. Kyle, remember the movie he was watching?
I don't.
He's watching the Ted Bundy Netflix show.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid's like 15 years old. No headphones.
Oh, man. Come on,
like,
man.
What is going on right now? I was like, this can't be real.
Yeah, top quality folks that you're with. So you make your way down. Have a bad experience on the way down. What was it like walking into the thing? I know you guys talked about some struggle with communication prior. So when you got to the convention center, you got to Orlando, you were not sweaty anymore from the flight. What's your first impression walking in?
Well, so we got there we got there that night, and then we woke up, went over to the convention center. We stayed at the Hyatt, which was connected to the convention center. Yeah, the Hyatt, and
Dude, very nice hotel.
And
very
we,
nice
so
hotel.
it was very convenient. We just
Not the Sinesta.
Hey, we love the Sinesta, though. Ain't that right, Dees? We love the Sinesta.
Yeah, basically the setup was just like what we have at Fittest of the Coast, where we stayed in the hotel. We walked through an airwalk over to the convention center. But this convention center was like 5 times the size of the Charleston Convention Center.
Yeah,
we actually got lost. Like when we walked in, we just kind of wandered around until we found it. But we walked in and it was cool. You know, I kind of jotted down some notes. I wasn't overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, this is amazing when we walked in. You know, I thought for one thing that it would be a little bit more grander than what it was. But it was cool. It was cool from a CrossFit nerd's perspective. It was a lot of fun to sit there and just watch CrossFit all day. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a fun experience. And like Kyle kind of said, if you do CrossFit and if you're a fan of CrossFit, I think it's definitely something you should experience. Because, you know, these people that you see that are the big time CrossFit people and CrossFit Inc., the sport itself as a whole, it's cool to see that in person, live, fully operating. It's a pretty unique experience, to say the least.
Now, you guys were there on Friday, is that right?
Yeah, we flew in Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, so you were at the Saturday then?
Yeah, and our flight was delayed a little bit getting in, so we didn't get to see any of the action Friday. So when we got in on Friday, we actually went down to the point to get some food, which actually was a funny story because we went to this. There's probably 5 or 6 restaurants in this spot, and one of them was a pub. And we're you can't go wrong with a pub. Pub
can't go wrong. Can't go right. Can't go wrong with the pub.
Yeah, pub food is always great. So we get in there, we're sitting there. Well, first off, it takes us forever to get any service after we sit down. And then we finally get our food. And Josh, I ordered like an English, like a pub dish. I can't even remember what it was. It wasn't anything to write home about. But what was fascinating, what was something that was memorable, Josh, what happened to your food?
Well, before we get to my food, we ordered an appetizer because we're hungry. I mean,
that's right.
We've been traveling all day.
Yeah, poor guys.
Well, I mean, not the boo-hoo, but I was not a happy guy, right, from just the day itself. So we ordered an appetizer, and I believe it was, you know, a lot of restaurants that do the soft pretzels with the beer cheese. That's right, typically. Man, these things were the smallest pretzels I've ever seen in my life. They were pointed at one end, and I'm looking at Kyle. I was like, we just got robbed.
They only gave us 4 too.
Yeah, they gave us 4, and I really couldn't believe it because I'm like, hey, this, you know, it's a pub. I'm expecting a lot of food. I think the appetizer is like $15, and man, it couldn't have been more disappointing. So that rubbed me the wrong way. All right, and then I get a burger. Right, I'm kind of one of these guys that go to a restaurant. I'll scan the whole menu, and then I'll end up, hey, where's the cheeseburger at? Right. So super bland, but besides the point, I was hungry, so I'm trying to get full, right? And I said a burger is the best way to do that. Okay. It takes forever. I probably took about 45 minutes to get our food.
Took a while,
right? Get the food. I'm eating my fries. So I don't know how you guys eat, so I'm kind of going into this. I'm a fry guy first.
He ate all of his fries first, and his burger was just sitting there. It's nice. It wasn't that amazing of a burger either, right? It was just.
It really wasn't.
It wasn't a fancy burger.
Mm-hmm. Very underwhelming. And then I finally get to the burger, and I probably eat about a third of it. And I notice, I'm like, man, this is a tough burger to eat. And
you actually were complaining that it was too rare or something like that. You're like, man, I ordered medium and it was a rare or something.
Yeah. I thought they overcooked it, right?
Okay, that's what it was, yeah.
And then I'm taking bites. I'm like, man, this is rough. And then next thing I know, I'm taking another bite. I literally can't get through the burger. I'm like, what is going on? I open it up. There's a wrapper. There's a white wrapper in my burger. And I'm like, dude, I think I just swallowed half half of this wrapper in my last bite. And I'm looking at Kyle, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, this place sucks. I was not happy. And Kyle, he was like, man, let me go after him. Let me go after him. I'm like, man, let me just talk to him. I was like, the best thing we can do in this situation is I'll say, hey, cancel the tab, cancel the bill, let us just leave. And luckily it all worked out that way. But I'm just trying to eat. I'm hungry. Right? That's it. Like, your boy is starving. I've had a bad day. I just want a good burger. And here I am halfway through. I ate half a piece of paper. Still very hungry.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how Friday night wrapped up. And then at Kyle, we ended up at this nice, what was the place called, Kyle? Was it Miller's?
No, maybe it was. We didn't go to Miller's. It was an ale house, but it wasn't.
Yeah, Miller's Ale House.
I don't think it was Miller's Ale House.
I know what you're talking about. They got a good dessert there. I'm gonna tell you. I know where you're at.
Or maybe it was.
So, I thought it was Miller's. We went down there. Great food. I even got a burger there, and Kyle looked at my place like, man, that burger looks good. And it's like, you're freaking right, it does. So
I know where that place is. I know exactly where you're at.
Yeah. So the night ended good. At the end,
Josh got his burger for second time's a charm. So then the next morning we woke up. We got over there right when the doors opened. We wanted to try to be some of the first ones in, because then we wanted to, we're there just also observing. We wanted to take some stuff to possibly implement. So we walked around the whole area, kind of took some mental notes, and a couple things that I'll say, hey, there were a lot of really cool positives, which I'll get to, but some of the negatives right off the forefront that we noticed, hey, and we look at it differently than maybe other people do because we do events, but the vendors, they literally put all the vendors in a corner that you didn't just walk into them, you had to go look for them. So all the vendors are in this far corner, literally on the opposite side of the facility from where the main competition floor was. And they had two competition floors. And when we were there, the first event was Linda and the individuals, and they had one set of bleachers. We didn't have seats, so we were standing around the competition floor. It was awful. We couldn't see a thing, and the reason being is they have two sets of barricades. The first set is for the media, so the media can take photos and do video. The next set is where the common folk or just the spectators view. So the whole workout, we're literally just looking at the backs of just these random jokers with cameras. Couldn't see the competition floor hardly at all, which was a little disappointing because Linda is such a fantastic and fun workout to watch. So that would be my one complaint is, hey, like they had this whole other separate competition floor that they could have ran Linda on that had bleachers all around it, and they didn't use it. So we were, we didn't have great seats there, and you couldn't see a lot. The other, what I'll call negative aspect that I thought was very underwhelmed by the signage. They didn't have a lot of signage. And I think when I thought back to it, I said, hey, they're running 3 semifinal events plus the CrossFit Games. The expenses that they must have must be just astronomical. Now, they do bring in a lot of revenue, but they're probably trying to limit as much of their expenses. That way they have more money for their big event, the CrossFit Games. But the signage I actually thought was rather underwhelming. So there wasn't a really cool atmosphere. And then the last thing I'll say was the music. We're really big on music and playing loud, exciting music. They didn't play music hardly at all. And when they did, it was just hush undertones. And then they would only turn it up slightly for the last heat. So it was interesting. The vibes, it was not an exciting atmosphere aside from watching, right? You had to be really into it to be exciting. Like the casual person, they weren't like, oh, this is amazing. Josh, I don't know what your thoughts were.
No, and I agree with Kyle, like everything you just said. The signage was very underwhelming. There was no super wow factor to the event, right? And unless you're I guess you could almost call it a kind of like, listen, I didn't know this about Kyle, but Kyle is a huge CrossFit geek. And I don't say that in a negative way either. But the guy is talking about some of these athletes competing, bringing up things from like 4 or 5 years ago that they did. I'm like, who is that person, right? I'm more of a casual fan, right? I'm not digging into things super hard. But Kyle has a good point where the crowd excitement yes, you were watching, but there was no any real cheering unless there was a really tight finish. Or another thing I realized is that, back in the day when CrossFit was doing, not that this was super long ago, but years ago, of documentaries and I guess bio videos about their super big athletes, the crowd, regardless of who was in first place, would go crazy for their favorite athlete. So, for example, Brooke Wells, and granted, I'm a fan of Brooke Wells. I mean, it's hard not to be, right? She was competing, and she wasn't doing very well. But anytime she did a lift, because I remember specifically in the snatch max out, anytime she did a lift, the whole crowd reacted on it. If she got it, the whole crowd cheered, right? And there could be someone right beside her doing more weight. But because everybody was a fan of a certain athlete, that's what really drove the crowd crazy. So other than those type of scenarios, it was more a kind of just sitting there watching, observing type of event, and especially in the downtime when they were switching heats or there were equipment changes on the floor. You're just kind of sitting there waiting. That's
yeah.
about it.
The one thing I'll say real quick, what you said about the media, it sparks a great point, is that I think it's one thing that they're missing. And we talked about that, how they haven't really done a lot of media content around the athletes and just digging into who they are and doing some of these day in the life videos or road to the games type of media content they used to do, which we would all watch. And then that's how you became a fan of the athletes in the sport. And they've kind of gone away from that. I think that's been to their detriment. But the other thing I'll say that I noticed is when they show the events on YouTube, when they stream the event. So like if you're watching from home this weekend, when you're watching the Europe semifinal, watch how they show the action. When you think sporting event, the camera usually is a wide view. It shows the whole field. It shows when you're watching football or soccer, it's wide. You see the whole field. When they show CrossFit, it's literally they show one person tight on them, and they hardly ever highlight the race as a wide view. So that's one thing I've noticed, and I think it's something that they should fix because, hey, when it's a wide view, you can see the whole race, and they do way too much just single action on one athlete in their media coverage. But
yeah, Kyle,
Yes.
I agree with you. They did that a lot, and it was interesting because when we got back and you were playing, what was it, the Western? What was the Northwest?
the West Coast,
the West Coast. When you watch the stream, it's a much different experience in person, right? Because in the stream, they do a very good job presenting it on the stream, talking about it, continuing the conversation, bringing up things. But
you missed the race.
Huh?
You missed the race. You can't really see the race.
Yeah, you can't see
typically.
the race, but even in general though, it's even almost more exciting to watch it on the stream than it is actually being there. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of. I feel like some people could relate to that to a certain extent, right? But that was one thing, at least I took away after watching the stream. I was like, man, this stream is almost more entertaining than actually sitting in the bleachers.
Yeah, some of the positives to David were, I thought Orlando was a fantastic location. It was easy to get to, just a fun spot. So I thought that was really great. The convention center setup was great. We could just walk to our hotel. There was a lot to do in the area. And the other thing was that there were energy drinks flowing the whole day. So Josh and I were consuming copious amounts of Jocko fuel, which
Jocko.
They don't actually have a whole lot of caffeine in them, which was probably a good thing.
The guy's trying to replace coffee. It's the most craziest business technique I've ever heard of in my life. So, Nice, there's this. Do you know who Jocko is?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know who Jocko was. Okay.
So Josh looked like a fool talking to them. He's like, I like the name.
Yeah, I literally go to these guys like, hey, man, I'm a fan of the name. It's a cool name. Like, yeah, he's a cool dude. I'm like, he? What? Like, who's Jocko?
He's that guy right there, you know?
Yeah, well, he wasn't there. I don't know.
Okay.
It's two random dudes. But besides the point, I'm reading it. I'm like, how much caffeine's in it? They're like 95 milligrams. I was like, that's child's play, man.
Like, I need that 250 plus, right? Like, if I'm drinking an energy drink, I'm trying to go. So, I mean, they were okay. Listen, they were free. So I was putting them, I think I had like 7. I'm not even kidding. I mean, I was motoring through those bad boys. But
yeah, but overall,
did you enjoy them?
They had a weird taste.
they had a weird taste.
Yeah.
They had a weird aftertaste, but they weren't bad. They weren't bad.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So at Orlando, and Josh, you watched the North America West, they changed a couple things. So they got some feedback, immediate feedback from Orlando, and actually adjusted for North America West. Some of you couldn't see on the broadcast, but what was it like having the 2 competition floors? Because I know they combined that in Orlando for things. So was that kind of weird going back and forth, or was there plenty of time to do that?
Yeah, so that was actually – it was a great idea for them to combine the floors because obviously we talked a little bit about some of the pain points. The one, if you didn't have a seat and there wasn't much seating, you couldn't see a thing.
No.
But no, the setup was very easy to get back and forth from. And I thought the timing, the way they set up their events, pretty much as soon as one event ended, you had like 40 minutes or so before the next event started. So you'd go to the bathroom, maybe go grab another Jocko, go grab a bite to eat, and you come back down. And that was one of the positives, I thought, the schedule. Like we sat there all day and watched CrossFit, and I didn't feel like there was a ton of downtime, which I thought was good.
No, and the thing is, you didn't miss anything, right? I mean, other than certain being able to see aspects, especially the first event, there was no, oh, shoot, I better hurry up. I'm going to miss this thing. It was timed out very well, and it gave people plenty of time to transition over to the main floor. I mean, that was all very well laid out. I'll definitely give them credit there.
Yeah, but they definitely made the right decision to just combine the floors because I think the biggest thing was I believe they probably had 2 floors because they wanted to have a separate floor because they were allowing people to work out and pay $10 and do the workouts. So they had that second floor originally so people could do that while the competition was going on. And then they're like, hey, we'll just make this one bigger and we'll run 20 lanes on it. But you literally could have just added a few extra feet on the main floor, which they did at the West Coast, which I think was smart. And I think it was just a smart decision by them because that was one of our biggest complaints. That it just we couldn't see anything over there.
Yeah. And then there was also some controversy. I don't know if you guys were aware of it. Was there like any talk of it while you guys were in the actual arena of who was there or who was not there and things like that?
Yeah, I got some texts from some friends that knew I was there and said, hey, did you see this? Like people are popping off on CrossFit right now. Actually, Kellen from Wild South texted me. He was like, hey, look at this. Like, man, people are just hating the decisions they're making. And he actually just said, hey, you guys just keep doing with what you're doing with your event. Like you're doing what's the right thing and keep it up and people will see that. But yeah, there was some talk about obviously the Alex Carone situation and them not letting him compete or making him stop competing. And then there wasn't actually a lot of conversation, at least amongst the folks that we were hanging out with, on Rich Froning, his situation, but I don't think it was that big of a deal was made of it when we were there. It more came out after the event with him. So.
Yeah, I didn't even know about the Froning situation. So all I know that there was some Russian guy that won a heat who was a Froning. I don't know. He trains at Froning's gym. Is that right, Kyle?
Josh.
Oh my gosh. Are you talking about Karenikov?
Is that him? Dude,
Josh, you don't know anything. You don't know Jocko. You don't know Rich Froning. You don't know Roman.
That's all I can say is this guy won a heat.
I like caffeine and energy drinks. That's what I know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And hamburgers.
And hamburgers without paper in them. I love that. But I don't know. He just cracked me up. I just remember Kyle, telling me, said, "Yeah, that guy trains with Froning." I was like, "Oh, cool." And that was about it.
Yeah, but overall, it was a good time. I would say, hey, if you're like a fan of CrossFit and the sport, even if you don't have friends or know anybody that are going, I would definitely go. If you get the chance, go to one of the semifinals. And it was also cool too because there was a ton of athletes that competed at Fittest of the Coast that were participating. So it was fun to get to watch a lot of athletes. I think we had 3 men in the individual. We had a team, at least 2 teams, maybe 3 or 4. There's a bunch. It was hard for us to keep track, but it was fun because we had rooting interest in a lot of people. So that was a really cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah,
and several individuals on the female side too that had been a part at some point.
That's
as well.
Yep. There were definitely a ton of people there, so it was cool, and it was cool too because we ran into a handful of folks that participated in our event, and we got to chat with them. So yeah, if you get the chance, I would definitely recommend going and making a trip there. It's worth it. Josh, I think it's time for every minute on the minute, dude.
Oh, is it time?
It's time, dude.
I'm just glad to hear you got the name of the segment right this time.
Yeah.
Whoa! Wow! Shots fired.
I'm looking out the questions we have. So, for those that are tuning in for the first time, so we have a segment every minute on the minute. We're gonna have 4 topics. We're each gonna have roughly 20-ish seconds to give our response to those questions, and we're gonna do it rapid fire. Are we ready?
On the starting off. Is Nee starting off? Okay.
He's at the top. So
all right.
Here, Josh, I'll go second this time.
Okay, that works. All
right, here we go. First question on the clock. David, what is the best pre-workout? Ready, go.
For me, it's Amino Energy Blueberry Lemonade. That's what I am kind of hooked on. I've tried different things. I don't want to get too high, too low, but that's kind of been a steady for me.
Nice. For me.
Okay.
That
was like 12 seconds. I was like 12 seconds.
Well,
what I need is.
We already established he's clear and concise,
but
we know you're the caffeine junkie, so you're going to have
I was trying to save time for you, you know?
All right. Well, Kyle's going to cut me off at 20 seconds anyway. He's great.
No, Josh, this is your favorite question anybody's ever asked you. It's about caffeine. All right. My pre-workout of choice right now is Podium Nutrition or Podium pre-workout. So I like the blue raz flavor. Also do a little bit of the peach. But the blue raz is great, and it hits just right.
Days, that was 13 seconds. Man.
Oh, wow.
Guys,
all right, buddy, you got like 42 seconds then. Come on.
Well, I can't take up your guy. I'm going to stick to the rules. 20 seconds. I already know what I'm going to say.
All right, ready, go.
Jack 3D. Anybody that has been in the caffeine game and the pre-workout game for a while, about 10 years ago, Jack 3D was running the game, even 10 to 15 years ago. It was so good that they had to ban it. So for anybody that's remember Jack 3D.
Jack 3D was good.
Jack 3D was good, right?
It was. It hits you so hard. It gave you the tingles as soon as that liquid touched your tongue. You were like, ugh.
Yeah, I'm being dead serious. I remember being in high school and there were some guys before we worked out, they would take like 6 scoops. I'm like, dude. Like your heart is going to explode, right? But was it worth it? Maybe.
Was Jack 3D the one? Did it get banned because it actually had a corrosive element in it and would burn through people's bodies?
I wouldn't doubt it. I have no idea. It's just a shame.
I think there was some sort of element in it that would actually cause a chemical reaction in the body, and you would explode from the inside out.
I never witnessed it, and it never happened to me. So let's make it a point to bring Jack 3D back to the market.
Google it. All right, next one. Here we go, David. Workout music of choice. 3, 2, 1, go.
I like music that has lyrics and that is upbeat with some bass, but that you can understand. I'm not really this emo techno kind of guy. So I prefer classic rock, but rock classics, not classic rock classics with a beat.
All right. So for me, it just depends on the time of day. So I work out primarily in the mornings and a lot of times by myself. And honestly, I like calm music in the morning. So I'll usually listen to worship music. It's very soothing. It's calming. And especially what I found during WODs, if the music is calmer, it actually helps me keep my heart rate down. I'm not going psycho mode when the music's blaring. So I like Christian music in the morning.
Hey, man, that's like 25 seconds right there.
Hey, I was spreading the good word, man.
I think that's great, but
3, 2, 1, go.
All right. It just depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes I could go for rap. Sometimes it's EDM. Not country, unless it's Morgan Wallen. He's the only country guy I like. But I'm the type of person, though, that if I find a song, I will beat it to death.
or in other words, I will listen to it over and over and over and over again. For a whole workout, I could listen to a song 30 sometimes and be totally content.
I do that too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was
I actually did a 15-minute AMRAP this morning of shuttle runs and then complexes of deadlifts, hang cleans, and bent over rows. And I listened to the same song 5 times.
What was the song?
I don't know.
Oh my God!
I'll tell you.
Come on.
I don't know names of songs. I just it's called Zones, the sped up version.
I like it.
I think it's important that we tell people, Kyle, that Josh is the DJ of choice, the guy who creates the playlist for Fittest of the Coast. And so he spends a considerable amount of time combing through YouTube and other places to find the best version to get our athletes ready to roll.
Thank you, Nice. I appreciate that. I'm telling you, the music is such
an what's the word I'm looking for? Undervalued thing at a competition where it totally sets the tone, right? And I remember the very first year, sorry to go on a story here. I remember the very first year I created a playlist off of Spotify, okay? And I probably spent a solid 2 months into it. And then lo and behold, at the competition, I remember my brother coming up to me. This is the first year. He's like, "Hey man, the playlist sucks." I took some other dude. So I was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "I spent 2 months
working on it." I was like, "Dude, it sucks, man. I'm telling you." Like some Beaver song came on, and everybody was like, "Beaver? Like, what's Beaver doing?" So I was like, after that year, I learned. And truthfully, to anybody that's listening, the best place to find music is YouTube. YouTube is the best. You can get any type of remix on there that a Spotify or an Apple Music will not allow. So that's my tip.
There you go. Yeah, David or Josh, you really do a good job with that.
Thank you, Kyle.
All right, next one. David, 3, 2, 1. First ever CrossFit workout.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. Three workouts come to mind when I first started at Electric City up in Anderson. I remember doing CrossFit Total pretty early on, the first week, trying to find those CrossFit, the max for CrossFit Total. I remember using battle ropes, and they had set up kind of a stationary, like we're moved from station to station with some box jumps and some kettlebell swings and some battle ropes. And that was one of the first things that kind of drew me in was the variety. And then also I remember Murph. I know it was a couple months in, but I do remember doing my first Murph there as well. So
nice. My first workout, I'm not positive this is what it was because I have vague memories of it, but I'm pretty sure it was Helen, which has running, kettlebell swings, and pull-ups. Because I remember doing pull-ups, and I didn't know how to do butterflies or do kipping, so I did strict, and this old guy just absolutely whooped my butt.
I'm sorry, we're losing the spirit of the EMOM, dude.
You were at 20 seconds, bro. We're losing the spirit of the EMOM, man.
I think we need to change this segment to actually give someone a minute to speak. But
Well,
all right,
we can rehash it.
We should just change the segment to call whatever Josh wants he gets.
Yeah, all right, Josh. Ready, set, go. You're on the clock.
My first workout, I know it was at Up Dog. I did it, and I remember whoever's coaching that class, I can't remember. They just kept on telling me to scale everything back. So I felt like a total wimp compared to everybody because I'm thinking in my head, I can do all this stuff. Little did I know, I was so far behind everybody, and it was a very exhausting workout.
Wow, Josh, that was 20 seconds. Good job.
Yeah, well done.
Well, it's just the spirit of the EMOM segment.
All right, here we go. Last question. This is a debate. This is a very debatable question. Can you wear a tank top to a CrossFit gym if you're a dude? Ready and go. Can you wear a tank top as a dude to a CrossFit gym?
You wear whatever you want. I know you wear whatever you want. I was trying to be silent for 20 seconds, but I couldn't stop from laughing. So I do not wear tank tops to CrossFit gym, but that's just me. You wear what you want.
Yeah, you know what? I really just want to know why it is that tank tops are frowned upon in CrossFit gyms. Like, how did that start, right? Because you rip off your shirt. Most people are going shirtless. So what's wrong with a tank top? I'm all for wearing tank tops. Go wear a tank top to your next CrossFit class. Josh.
Okay, I just didn't know if your 20 seconds were up.
Well, I don't know. You've been keeping track the whole time.
Well, you had like 5 seconds left there, dude. I didn't know if you had another 40.
Go.
Personally, I think it just depends on the style of the tank top. If it's a super tight one, absolutely not. You should not be wearing that as a guy. Girls, that's kind of the look. If it's super, super loose, what's the point of wearing one? You might as well just go shirtless.
So you're saying no Under Armour, skin tight tank tops?
Absolutely not. Especially if you're a guy. I just think it's a bad look.
I will agree. It's a really bad look.
Yeah. Niece, no comment there? You got nothing to say? Just gotta say
I got nothing to say, man. I'll be honest with you. I think I understand why people take their shirts off and cross. I get it. But I also think that sometimes people make errors and strategic decisions by taking their shirt off when the shirt actually provides some friction for some movements instead of, like, I just think it's a lot easier to clean a barbell when you have a shirt on, or to do squats, or to do certain things when the shirt is absorbing the sweat and it's not going all over the bar and everywhere else. So I think sometimes people just want to show their body off so much that they take their shirt off. And hey, more power to them. I think a tank top serves the same purpose. There's not enough clothing to kind of help you with any of the movements. So what's the point?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a vain aspect to it with a lot of folks. The one thing I will say, being and Josh, you work out in my garage a lot. The one thing that I will say is, if you don't, like, a lot of times we don't even start wearing a shirt in the garage. And the reason being is you're pretty much just going to waste the shirt because it's just going to be soaked. So, hey, save you a shirt for laundry. Help my wife out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's funny you say that, because being down at the regional event, there were certain events where people did leave their shirts on for the sake of the movement that's being done.
Linda, with all the squat cleans, right? That was one thing when somebody didn't wear a shirt, and Linda, I was like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You're about to just squat clean 55 reps, and that bar is just going to sit on your wet collarbone. Makes no sense.
Yeah.